Well, an entrepreneur from Dallas has written a new book to educate people about strokes, how to prevent them, and what to expect if one happens in your family, and how to avoid her mistakes, like when her husband Mark suffered a severe one nearly 2 years ago. Lori Williams is the author of Surrounded by Love, One Family's Journey Through Stroke Recovery. Lori, you feel you made a mistake?
Yes, I do. I mean, I recognized immediately that he was having a stroke. It was on Christmas Day, 2022. We were about to sit down for dinner, and it was his speech. He couldn't say the blessing, and what he was trying to say was gibberish. So I knew immediately what was happening, but what I should have done was call 911. I immediately put him in my car. I drove to the emergency room, which was just a few minutes away, but we were at the wrong emergency room, the wrong hospital. This hospital did not do neuro. We should have just called the ambulance. They would have called ahead. We would have gone to the correct hospital.
All right. So, as you and I know from personal experience, for stroke victims, time matters, right? Time is of the essence. Well, how long do they say generally you got to get help?
I believe it's 2 hours or less that you need to get there, because there is, if it's a ischemic kind of a stroke, they can use the clot busting drug, which is tenecteplase, that can dissolve the clot. So, but time is of the essence, and calling 911, which I've learned since, is that they're already contacting the hospital. The hospital's getting ready. Everyone's ready to receive the patient. So we lost some time. Plus, he then had to be care flighted to another hospital. So, I regret that I didn't think just to call 911, but all I could think was, get him there fast.
Yeah. Care flighted, by the way, that phrase sounds very expensive. I'm pretty sure that's not covered by insurance.
Well, it ended up being covered, but it was a battle, and it was unbelievably expensive. Yeah. So it was shocking. It was $35,000, if you can believe that, for a probably 15-minute flight.
Right. We're speaking with Lori Williams, entrepreneur, also author of a brand new book called Surrounded by Love, One Family's Journey Through Stroke Recovery. And her husband, Mark, had a stroke almost 2 years ago. All right, so speaking along those lines, then comes, after the shock of your husband having a stroke, now comes the battle with health insurance. What was that like? That was just, a nightmare on top of an existing nightmare. So you're constantly having to battle because, we had two types of insurance. So we had a Medi-Share plan, but in January, we were switching over to Blue Cross Blue Shield. So it was so confusing because he was still in the hospital when we went into the new year. And it was, nobody wanted to pay. Everyone wanted to fight about who owed what. So it was just constant on the phone, constant with, they were already calling from CareFlight, for collections. It's just like, he's only been here 4 days. So, you're dealing with so much emotionally, not sure, if your loved one's going to survive. And he actually ended up having 4 strokes, because once we got to the hospital, 2 days later, he had what's called a stroke shower. So he had 3 more additional strokes, which were very significant strokes, unfortunately. But, you're trying to figure out how are we going to go to the next step, which was acute rehab in a hospital. And they didn't want to take the Medi-Share. They wanted to wait till insurance kicked in, because, if they took him without being on traditional insurance, which we weren't until 2023, then they wanted $80,000 up front to take him. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, I did not have $80,000 just laying around to say, here you go. So it was a nightmare. Thanks, Lori. That is Lori Williams, author of the book Surrounded by Love, One Family's Journey Through Stroke